When you hear the word prenup, what do you think? Unromantic, unsexy, a bad way to begin a new marriage, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that it is the type of document that can protect you, protect your children, even protect your future spouse, especially when we're talking about a second, third marriage, or some sort of blended family situation. Hi, I'm Charles Cannon, Certified Financial Planner. Let me talk to you today about how a prenup might be in your best interest. See, I had a woman come into my office in the last week or so, and she was heartbroken and worried. Why? Because she had entered into her second marriage without a prenup. And she had brought to the marriage a beautiful, paid off home. And that was her primary asset. And so she entered the marriage, and the first thing that happened, and you know, it may not have been a real healthy marriage to begin with, but here's the first thing that happened, is that her husband convinced her, let's take out a second mortgage line of credit against the home. And over time, as that line of credit got used and it wasn't getting paid back, it led her to decide, what I really need to do now is sell this house and downsize into a new paid off home. So yes, the new home was still in her name. But again, what happened over time, and keep in mind that her husband, every time there was a problem with the house, he would say, I'm a renter. Of course, there was no rental agreement in place. He was her legal spouse, or is her legal spouse. And so over time, what happened was, every time there was a repair to be made, it came from marital funds. And her separate asset legally now might be more and more commingled inside the marital assets. And so she's worried that if she gets a divorce, she may lose another big chunk of her home, because it's really the major asset that's left after all these years. See, her husband was pushing money off into ventures with his other family, with his kids from the first marriage. And some of that money got lost. So now what's left behind is this asset that if she did try to get divorced, he may claw some value out. And so she was not protected with the prenup. If we go into a marriage and we know that nationwide 40% of first marriages end in divorce, and the numbers are even higher in second and third marriages, in a second marriage situation, in some cases, we have estimates of almost 2/3 of them end in divorce. We also see statistics that tell us that second and third marriages entered into with a prenup may stand a better chance of lasting. And not only does it stand a better chance of lasting, but you've protected yourself, you've protected your children from your previous relationship, and you're even protecting your new spouse. Why is that? Because a prenup makes you have a conversation that a lot of couples never have. What are our present assets? What is our present debt? What are our goals? What is our long-term outlook? All these types of financial conversations that many couples never have. And so that can lead to a stronger, healthier base as you enter into that next marriage. And so that's how a prenup can actually help your marriage last longer. I knew a pretty wealthy guy, and he had 3 daughters, and as they got married, he would always pick a time to be one-on-one with the future son-in-law, where he would tell him, I'm coming from a place of love. Are you marrying my daughter for love or business? And of course, the future son-in-law would say, for love. And he would say, that's great because we can't wait to have you be a member of the family. But there is some business that we have to take care of. And that's when he would bring the prenup. And he would pay for that son-in-law to go to his own attorney and have it reviewed and say, look, this can be a conversation, but before there is a marriage, there's going to be a prenup. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways to handle it, but it's something that you ought to look into. A prenup can give you clarity. What's yours? What's mine? What's ours? It gives you protection, especially for children from previous relationships, because a lot of second marriages end up with another child, right? And we want them all to be treated fairly. Fairness. What are your expectations? What's your future spouse's expectations? And it can be set while everybody is calm and thinking of things logically, rather than it's too late and things are getting nasty. And so it also allows you to have the security of understanding each other's current financial situation. It's all about transparency and planning your future together, not mistrust. Here's something that most people don't know. If you don't have documents protecting you, then state law is what decides how your assets get divided. And guess what? In most states, the state law do not consider second marriages or blended families really at all. And so you may be unintentionally disinheriting your children from a previous relationship if you don't have a prenup in place. And so we help ensure that those children are protected and all of your loved ones are treated correctly and fairly, because you never want the state that you're living in to make decisions about your finances. Like I said before, I think one of the best parts about a prenup is that it actually helps you have healthy conversations with your future spouse before the marriage starts. You can talk about money, debt, long-term goals, your kids, your future retirement, all of these other things, and what your ongoing responsibilities to each other are. Most couples don't have those conversations, and so a well-crafted prenup helps you have the conversation and get it documented. So don't think of it as being unromantic or unsexy. Think of it as being responsible, respectful, and protective of your loved ones. I've written a whole article about this, and it's been printed underneath my LinkedIn. And so if you go to Charles Cannon on LinkedIn, you can find the article, read it, share it with your loved ones. You can find a link directly to that article below. Or if you would like to talk further about this, come on and request a free 20-minute Zoom call. Now remember, I'm not an attorney. I will not be drafting your documents. But I can help you take a big picture of where you're at, where you want to go, and then help you frame the conversation not only with your future spouse, but help you build a roadmap so that when you do get to your attorney to build the documents that you need, you're not paying that attorney to brainstorm for you. This is Charles Cannon, Certified Financial Planner. Remember, proper planning in all phases of your financial life is responsible, and that's what promotes your financial independence. Have a great day out there now.